Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahman, Tasmai Sri Guru Namaha. Sadasiva Samarambam, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryandam, Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sakhanavavadu, Sakhanavabhunaktu, Sakaviryam Karvavahai, Tejasvina Vadidamastuma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vasudevendra Yogindram Nattva Jnana Param Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hidarthaya Tattva Bodha Abhitiyate. Good morning. So we are in the Maha Vakya Vicharam. So the question asked by the disciple, how can you say that Nanu Sahankarasya, Chinditnyasya, Jivasya, Nirahankarasya, Sarvagyasya, Ishvarasya. So I am limited, I am having a false notion of myself. How can I be equal to the Ishvara? So Tattvamasi, the Mahavakya, Katam Abeda Buddhihi Siyat. How can we have a non-differentiated approach can be derived from the Tattvamasi and such Vakyas? Because he knows Ubayo Vriddha Dharma Karnat. They are completely different. So we therefore looked at the Tattvamasi as one of the Mahavakyas, and we gone through the context of that Mahavakya in the Chandogya Upanishad. We briefly look at the story, and then we got back to the Tattva Bodha Grantha for the teacher's answer. Teacher said first, Iti Chen. If you say that they are different, that is not so. Then he has to now explain the Mahavakyam is given as a Sutravakyam. Sutravakyam is something which is compacted in words, pregnant with meaning, but only you understand when that is given in the context. Therefore, he has got the onus of illuminating the Mahavakyas, 3 words. What are the 3 words? Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi. That means that. Tvam means thou or you. Asi means you are being. So it is actually a second person instructive sentence. Upadesa Vakya. Asi, because you are. So he is telling in front of the disciple. Tattvamasi. Siddhatma Tattvamasi Svetaketu. He repeats 9 times with the different examples giving. Therefore, this is the Vakya that is imparted by the teacher to initiate to Atma Vidya. We also know that this sentence creates doubts in our mind. So, therefore, we give a definition that so far they have been receiving information from the teacher. So that information illumines our mind and removes ignorance. So the new knowledge that you get that dispels ignorance and give you new information, that process is called Shravanam. So in Jnana Yoga, in this exercise we do 3 important steps. Of course, the 0 step is the qualification. We have to have the right mental capacity and intellectual framework, Shraddha, Bhakti, all that we need. But once you have that, you have the first step is Shravanam. You go and listen, collect knowledge. Shravanam is Sotratya, you're listening. Of course, it also includes reading and participating in debates and understanding all this. So all kinds of knowledge with the full purpose of assimilating information. So that's Shravanam. So we got all that. And then he concludes saying that Jiva Ishvara is same like Tattvamasi Vakyas. So now it creates a doubt in our mind. So therefore, what we have to now do, the ignorance is gone. I got knowledge, but it has given birth to suspicion. The ignorance is bliss. You never had any worries. You were just going around about your life and spending ourselves like it's called a mushroom management. Put them in the dark and feed them something low food and watch them grow like a mushroom grows. So we are happily growing, and now we come to the Vedanta and gives you new knowledge. Now it has become, you see, this is the most important point. When we start learning Vedanta, everything is redefined. Things becomes, like when you do this, when you do these truthful things, when you become so pure in your mind, even a little lie, even the white lies they say, English we say white lie. That means something you can say and get away with this. Even that start hurting, right? So when your little lies start hurting you, that means you are on the right track. Because what we are used to, we are just shaking it off. And more you go into Vedanta, everything is radically changed. So it doesn't make you rest. So I'm just warning you. So more and more you get into Vedanta, you will redefine your life, your personality. You become positively restless because it is scraping the surface and you get something more and more. Somebody said, the more and more I learn more and more about my ignorance. So ignorance is the mother of all knowledge. In Aproksha Anupati, Shankara says, from ignorance everything is born. Is it not? Any discovery you make because you did not know before. So we cannot say avidya is, that's why Ambal is called Vidya Swarupini. She is pregnant. If something is born out of your ignorance. People say it's born out of your knowledge. No. See, again, I'm giving a very paradoxical statement. Anything you create is not coming out of your knowledge. It's coming out of your ignorance. But in knowledge, it gets resolved. In ignorance, it is born. When I sit and write a poetry, you write a book or you write a text, the ideas come out of your ignorance and resolved into your knowledge. So therefore, whenever we say in the science, avidya, maya, don't underestimate that. That is the garbhavasa. Okay, I just digressed anyway. Come back to this one. So the Guru said, look, you have to now look at this internally. I will now tell you about the lakshyartha. Because if you just blatantly look at it, and also it is a Guru told to a disciple. Shvetaketu is a disciple. Dalagar is the Guru. And in that conversation, like I remember when I was young, myself and my sister used to have fun. When you walk around, we go with somebody who's talking, you go near them and pick up the words that they speak and then pass to the next person. So we try to connect, I'm just saying as Drishtanam. So you pick up somebody's conversation, a word, and then that becomes a Maha Vakyam. How can it be? So therefore, you know to have the context. We've gone through the context story. Now Guru is telling the Lakshyartham, Tattvartham. So you take the Tvam Pada Vachyartham, the Tvam Padam, the word Tvam is what it is. It is not you, this body, this Lakshmi or Balaji or money or you're not that. Because that is your identity. Sthula, Sukshma, Sarira, Abhimani. That I am this body, I am this mind, that kind of a personality. So the personality is your identity. That is not you. That is not the Tvam, it says. Therefore, your immediate argument that how can I be God? I am so silly and I'm so stupid, I am sinful. So all that you're saying is to your identity of this body. You're right. If somebody says that, he is stupid. But here the Tvam is not that. Okay, that's the first statement. But why I am doing this, that I'm identifying with this? Because of the upati. Upati is the limitation. So the upati for us is the Sula Sukshma Sariram. So if you do not have the limitation of your body, then there is a Tvam in you, a meaning of the Tvam. That is what is meant. It is worrying because, if I have to give up my body, mind and everything, I am expressionless. Why am I worried about anything? So therefore, should I come after I am dead? So why am I studying Vedanta now? No, here, Vinirmuktam, see, to be detached is not just a physical attachment. You see, you listen to this story. Somebody, no, so many deaths on COVID-19, Corona. It is bothering us. But honestly, if you touch your heart, it is a news item for you, for us, because it's happened somewhere remotely. So you are. It is a news, but you are very mukti. You are detached to it. But when it comes to our friend, our community, family, personally, so therefore, Vinirmuktam, Upatim, an attachment is not just physical. Therefore, is it mental? It is mental, it's also emotional, but it is simply nonsensical. That means I don't have attachment. Yes, we have attachment as an engagement. Love is what you let go on it, you don't regret. Respect, kindness, but not attachment to the core that you have a sense of loss in everything else. Please don't mistake me. I'm not talking about not to grieve for tragedy. No, we do all that, but we have to recover. That's the reason why no death really makes us die. Even the sati they did in those days is not because they have really wanted to go with their husbands, because it's a political pressure, social pressure. Because it is not being selfish. Bhagavan Ramana says, we all know that we now don't die. So the attachment that we have is only for enacting the role. Continue to enact the role. Please don't go back to the house and say, look, I learned some Vedanta today. I will be dispassionate. I'll be emotionless. I won't smile. I won't show love. That is nonsense. You know that we have a performance to do. You perform. Enjoy the enjoyment there, but be detached. So that is Vinirmuktam. So he says that if you can stula, sukshma, karana, sarira, abhimani, if you Vinirmukta means carry it on, but don't bother. And when you are in that state, that's called Samadhi Dasha. Don't take it as a Samadhi means sitting there and contemplating, closing the eyes. Here, Samadhi means that Jnanam. That Jnanam, that I am infinite potential. I am not this embodied soul. I am the unconditioned Atma. That Bhavam. See, in Vedanta is one thing which you need to understand. See, if you are in a pit, you are in the pit, deep pit, a well you have fallen into. And so somebody is standing outside the well and he is telling you, I am seeing the horizon, beautiful sky, stars, nothing you can see, nothing you can appreciate because the levels are different. So for you, they may be true, may not be true. You don't really care because you are not able to see it. For the person standing out there, he can see it, therefore he can declare. So we have no right sitting, dwelling in the deep to say that what he says is incorrect because we have no perspective of it. So what do? Therefore, we take what he's saying is right, Shraddha, because you know that he's not a lunatic. We know him. I know he's a good person. That means he's saying because he stands in a different pedestal. Therefore, help me to carry me there. So he lends his hand, you hold it, you go there, now you see it. So we in the world are like in the pit. The jnanis and yogis and Bhagavan Krishna and all those great gurus, avatars, give you what they see in the Paramarthika plane, the supreme place. Therefore, we take it in good faith and we go. And the lift requires a Shraddha and a Bhava. Imagination is very important. People think that, oh, you are just imagining. They ridicule that. Scientists among you would appreciate, science is all about imagination. We did, I remember a few months back, we did a simulation model for the solar orbiter in our company, and the visioning, simulation, imagination. So Samadhi Dasha is the state in which you have the bhava that I am the free, independent person, just yourself. This jabam has to be there all the time. More so when you have difficulty in life, more so when you get angry, more so when you get upset. Detach. So we do that for the Vyavakarika problem, that is being in the bit, in the tip. So when you are there, that time dawns the true nature of yourself, that is Shuddham Chaitanyam. Shuddham means it is unconvoluted, unconditioned by the upati. Chaitanya, consciousness. So Chaitanya is always there. So you can immediately ask the question, Shuddha Chaitanya means there is an Ashuddha Chaitanya. Chaitanyam cannot be Ashuddham. Chaitanyam is Atma. How can it be blemished? But there can be an apparent blemish. That's why we took an example of the Spatikam with the flower. Upati. So we will not go deeper into that. But so we've gone through that. And then we said, this is what the Tvampada Lakshyartham. So this all we saw that. Now we need to go to the next one. So here the Guru says, Evam Sarvam Jnanat Vadi Vishishta Ishvaraha Tatpada Vachyartha Upadi Sunyam Shuddha Chaitanyam Tatpada Lakshyartha Evam Cha Jivosvara Chaitanya Rupena Abheda Bhataka Abhavaha. Okay. So here what he says first, Evam, thus Sarvajnanatvadi Visishta Ishvaraha. So now he is going to give us the Tatpadaktam, what is the Vakhyartham and what is a Lakshyartham. Remember, Vakhyartham is literal meaning. Lakshyartham means intended meaning. But we don't go to the Lakshyartham randomly. It has to be, we look at the Vakhyartham. If it is not fitting the purpose of understanding, then we go to the Lakshyartham. Never forget this. So, Sarvajnanatvadi Visishta Ishvara. That means one who is endowed with all knowing, all knowledge, omniscient, is Ishvara. In the Ishavasya Upanishad, the Ishvara, the word itself, the Shankara explains so beautifully. So one that is pervading, Vishnu, auspicious, Shivam, all-knowing, Chaitanyam, Jnanam. So that is the Vachyartha. Of course, we know this literal meaning, and that's what given us the contradiction. Now he says, this is very, very important to understand. Now he says, okay, that is Ishvara. That Ishvara also can be perceived differently, but understand Upadi Sunyam, that who has, here Shunya means not, okay, Shunya means not having it, null. Here it means not impacted by. Upadi Shunya. He also had a Upati. What is Ishvara's Upati? Upati is what? What shows something as something else. That's upati. Always remember, Spatikam, rose flower, Spatikam looks rose. Spatikam, blue flower, Spatikam looks blue. So whatever is coming and imposing itself and creating its Swarupam into something else, so that it gives a different appearance, different guna. Could be Shabguna, Durguna, doesn't matter. So that is Upati. Upati Visishta. Ishvaras appears in all this creation. Okay, we are going to go to what is creation. So right now, hold on to it. The world is created by Ishvara. That's what we believe. So let's keep that thought right now. And we've gone through briefly that he is the, Upata Karana, instrumental cause, efficient cause, everything. Therefore, he appears in all. Every effect has got the cause, and indwelling into this. Therefore, we can also see. Therefore, if I am identifying with my body and mind, I'm upati limited. And if Ishvara is also in every part, every body, every jagat, so is he not also upati limited? If you look at it that way, it is your problem. That's why when you do I'm not belittling any symbols, any idols. We do all that only as an aid to see this is how my God will look like. This is how my symbol will look like. So when we bring out a figure of imagery or a picture of God, Sadguneshwara, Shaguna Brahma, that is God, yes, because God is in everything. But because we are limited, we can only hold a limited form. In some religion, they go straight to worship the limitless God. It's not unfair, but that is like trying to reach the moon with your little finger. So when you're not prepared for it, the fall is great. So we have, in Vedanta, we have no quarrel with any theosophy, any religion. Everything got a place, context. Therefore, we never ridicule other religions, other faith. Bhagavan says, and Krishna says, look, I appear to them as they wish. So what is the point of, I cannot go and argue that, no, it doesn't come as Jesus or Allah or Buddha because my Puranam is bigger. Vedas are bigger. No, you don't argue because his Shraddha is important. He would be seeing only that way. He will be seeing Mary shedding tears. Like we see, God oozing milk. There is no way that we can harmonize that way. That is not resolving differences. Celebrate differences and see beyond Ubhati Sunya. Very important to understand. I think sometimes we get even those Sanatana Dharmavadis, they think that, advocacy of our Shastra doesn't mean throttling and dismantling, kicking others. No, it's totally wrong. Okay, I don't go there. So, Ishvara is Upati Sunyam. What does it mean? That means, I remember the picture I showed you, a circle there, where Maya and Ishvara is outside. He controls the Maya. Drishtandam is what? If you take our dream state as our creation state as the Ishvara's role, we go to dream and we create dream without knowing that this is my plan because I have no control. So therefore, I am in the dream, I'm enjoying the dream, experiencing the dream. Literally, I created the dream because it is in my mind it came, but I never planned for the dream. I didn't know that I'm going to make the dream. Therefore, I am, although a creator, I am not really. Ishvara also sees the dream, he creates everything, but he has a plan. Therefore, he can create a dream and withdraw the dream. Is it what we call it Srishti? Okay, that's a different vadam. We are going to discuss it briefly. So here, therefore, you see the differences now. There it is at Upati Vinid Muktam. So if you are able to make yourself free from Upati, then you come to a point which is called Samadhi Dasha, There you will see the Shuddha Chaitanya. Ishvara is already Upati Vinirmukti, Upati Sunya. In other words, Ishvara is already in the state of free from everything else. We are not in the state of free from everything else. Therefore, I cannot be Ishvara until I am free from everything else. Therefore, the definition is not about the literal meaning of you and God. It is about what you are in reality and what God that you think in reality. If you look at the reality of it, it is Chaitanyam, that is Shuddha Chaitanyam. So he says, Shuddha Chaitanyam Tatpada Lakshyartha. Sorry, I just go back to this one. So here he has given us two things. Who is Tvam, who is Tat. Then he says, Evam cha Jivoshvara Chaitanya Rupena Abheda Bhataka Abhavaga. This is something very interesting, and Krishna uses all the time in Vedanta. Shankara does it. They use double negatives to make a positive, so that it looks like confusing, but it is enforcing the point. He says, if you understand this definition, Tattva Lakshyartham of Tat and Tvam, you would therefore then Jiva Ishvaroya Chaitanya Rupena. If you take the Chaitanya Rupam of the Ishvara, and Chaitanya Rupam as the Jiva, which is nothing but the Atma Tattva. If you take that one, Abheda means non-difference. Bhataka means non-existent or contradiction. There's no contradiction to Abhedam. Abhavaga. So Bhataka, Abhavaga means no contradiction exists. Bhataka is contradiction, Abhavaga means non-existence. Do you understand? No contradiction exists in what? In Abheda, in differences. What differences? In Jiva Ishvara differences. Why? Because you look at the Chaitanya Rupena. Bhataka Abhavaga, differences do not exist. Sorry, contradiction do not exist. In what? In Abheda. In Abheda means non-difference. In non-difference in what? In Jiva Ishvara. In Chaitanya. So he has given us the Advaita Jnanam as a result of Mananam. So this is supposed to be understood to resolve our doubt, but our doubts are so deep, right? So it doesn't go away very quickly. So I just give you something before we conclude it. So what is being discussed therefore is why the difference that we see is different from what the Guru sees, because what is and what appears are two different things. We are not conditioned to discriminate, to know what is in everything, because the Nama Rupam is a dominant, or Pratyaksha Pramanam, the senses, or that which smells, sees, touch, feels, and taste and everything is for a form and a name. Therefore, what we therefore say, what appears is a creation. Is it not? Srishti, they call it. See, now again, Vedantam is going to take us to a path which is turning our world upside down. You remember, we started with the belief everything exists because there is God. It's God created. And therefore, we've gone through certain school of thought and say, therefore, the master that we should pray, and we do all that. We also say that everything that created is created with the God's own body. Therefore, everything is divine. Therefore, creation is true. Created things are true. In every created things, God exists. All that is very important because it makes it comfortable for us, because we are in the pit. So we need to really take that in Shraddha. And if you want to be in the pit all the time, you can be all the time there. If you want to rise above, then you have to really unentangle rectangle, these things. In science, as I say, I was telling before, science is all imagination, and imagination is something which we should not afraid to do. See, when you lose imagination, you lose growth. What is happening is, in our life, we grow when we are young, because young children, imagine, you just watch a little child, playing. You learn a lot. He or she imagines many things, creates. It doesn't manifest in front of you as a physical form, but to the child, yes, it does. But we lose this capacity. We inherit thoughts, and thoughts just become a dormant stuff in our mind. It's, every time I think of and this resolution I broke this year as well. I want to go and clean up my wardrobe, and wardrobe full of shirts and trousers and many, many things. It's just piled up. I don't even know what is a new thing I bought. Mind is like this, piled up thoughts. So what happens now, especially as we grow older, we don't imagine anymore. We resonate, think on our thoughts. Not even every new thought is imagination. Every old thought is remembrance, recollection, vasana. We dwell. Oh, let's go and listen to 1940s songs. Nice. You can enjoy all this. But then it takes you back to the thought of those things. And then you dwell. You go deeper into the deeper pit of the vasana. Am I saying that you therefore discard everything? No, you can go back and enjoy like a pickle once in a while. But bring your imagination back to say, how does the flower blossoms? Why does it blossoms? What am I doing all these days? If you start looking at it, what's happening around you, then you realize what you missed so many years. So the scientists imagine so many ways, and they thought, okay, in 1929, Hubble look at it and say, look, this world is expanding. All the time is expanding it. Therefore, the creation is not like that. God came in and, Saint Augustine was saying, Bible says Genesis, he created the world. So what did he do the day before the creation started? And this question was asked by the agnostics to him, and he replies very angrily and said, look, oh yeah, he was preparing the hell for all of you. But there's a scientific thought to it. So if God was creating that world on the day one, what is he doing before that? So science does not accept this kind of dogma. So science started imagining, thinking, what's happening? And Hubble theory in 29, and then it's proven later in the 20th century that the world is in fact expanding. The universe is expanding. Expanding means moving away from a place to a different place. Therefore, if I want to look at the origin, I go back and move them back like a jigsaw puzzle and move them back. So it has to be in one place. Yeah, it is. I got it. Therefore, they got this kind of a very fabled theory of Big Bang. There was something which is one point and everything expanded. Well, then you ask the same question. What is the one point? What was there before the one point? Then they say, no, we modify it. This model is, you see, what I'm trying to say, all this is imagination. It looks very rational, mathematical model looks at it. It looks scientific to us and we accept it. It is somebody's imagination. Then say, no. Because you say before, this time is the important point. Then they redefine Big Bang is not about the material particles exploding. No. What is exploding is time and space itself. Those who studied physics with great interest appreciate this. Big Bang is not about an object that explodes in the space at a particular time. No. The explosion happens to the time and space itself. So what is exploding is time and space. That is accepted by everybody else. All this is told in many things back in Vedas, but accepted by everybody else because Albert Einstein, the great Rishi, came with a different concept of relativity. The general theory of relativity talks about the time is different from each place to place. So when they need to combine this together, then they combined it. Okay, Big Bang is not about Big Bang of a solid material. It is Big Bang of the time and space itself. Therefore, when it expands, like when you blow the balloon, the dot, what happens? If you draw a dot in a balloon, a dot, and then you blow it, when it expands, the dot becomes thinner and thinner and thinner. The color fades away because the distance among the color pixels are far away. Therefore, if the time and space are going away, time will slow down because a second, the gap between those two expands. Time slows down. That's what Einstein was. I'm trying to make it very simple for you to understand. When the expansion happens in the space, the time also expands. Time slows down. If time is slowing down, the scientists thought, okay, if I expand, time slows down. If I contract, time accelerates. Therefore, I can build a time machine to go forward and backward. So they started the time machines theory, and then came a theory, no, origin of time is impossible to do. So I think it is all happening because imagination. I'll give an example. So if you take a book, okay, open a book and you look at the letters in a book, in a page. Imagine each letter has got a life by its own. So the letter says Sri Ramajayam. So the S and R are talking to each other. I'm bored, and what are you doing? I'm bored. Let's go for a walk. So they walk across the page. Their walking can be only a two-dimensional walking. They can just slide around this page because they got a length and the width. They're only two-dimensional. They get bored, come back. Yeah, that is our world. There's nothing beyond this. Somebody jumps into the letter V, jumps in. It says, no, I've been to other world. There is volume. What is volume? Oh, we can go in the height. No, you cannot do. Look at this. This is the world. It's one page. Go around, lengthen the width. Then the V says, okay, I give you a magic pill. It's called Vedanta. Swallow it. Now you see, they jump out of it. Suddenly they see lots of pages. When you close this book, it's a volume. It's a book. These three are standing on top of the book. Now you see, there are so many pages, two-dimensional pages. And put together, there is a three-dimensional book. Now we can see volume. I'll just give you an example here. We are like this letters S and R and P, but our world is three-dimensional. So we think this is it. I'm not talking Vedanta, I'm talking science now. See, you can't see the difference. So Steinhardt and Thoreau, these two scientists thought, therefore there is a multi-dimensional to this. Like a paper floating in the air, every universe is floating, not a world. I'm not talking the world. The universe we see, it's like one page is floating. So they call it brain theory. Brain means a sheath, membrane. So a brain is an universe, like a page of a book floating in the sky. The sky, I'm using the sky, there's no other word. They use the word bulk. So bulk is the undefinable big space. In that, there is a universe as a page floating around, a brain. There are multiple brains. There are multiple universes. They're all there. They're a wonderful theory, and some really throw stone at it. Some say it's a Nobel worthy prize. But when they start expanding on this more and more, okay, they are floating and they crash each other. When they crash each other, they generate a lot of energy. So more matter created. And there is one institute called the Perpetual Institute in Physics in Ontario, Canada. Beautiful paper they wrote. Well, this is not happening an expansion. It is happening as a cycle. Like, like a heart pumping. The heart is expanding and then contracting. It's not contracting to go into a single core and collapse itself. It comes to the point of contraction and expands. Contracts and expands. Contract and expands. So there is a point, they proved, mathematically they proved, you cannot go to this point of singularity, this what you call the Big Bang theory singularity. There's one point where everything is merged. You can never go, because there is a force of this heart pumping up and down. You will be exposed, you will be contracted in and expelled out. And there is a point of no entry. So they put string theory and all that. There is in parallel, there is a theory called now theory, a scientist from Cambridge and Barford. He said, look, he made a very, he's like Eric van Daniken and a few other freak scientists who publish, whose paper don't come in Nature or something, because the so-called the purists don't accept anything which has got extended imagination. So it comes in a different kind of science journal. And he said, look, time is an illusion. He said that because he was reading a book by Dirac. Dirac, I consider myself as a seer, as a guru who electromagnetic theory. And when he read his book, he said, time came in. Then he was so possessed with this, he left his teaching position and said, what is time? So he wrote a lot of papers on it. And there's another one from Stanford, Carol and Jennifer Chen. They said, look, don't look at the origin of the time, because it is impossible to find. But look at the arrow of the time movement. So they combined all this model and they say, how do we define the arrow of time? So again, without going too technical. So when there is absolutely balance, absolutely everything is pure state, it's called equilibrium. No left, no right, no high, no low, no good, no bad, no happiness, no sadness. Absolute moksha, it is fulfillment. This one spot, just imagine this. That is called equilibrium. So when the equilibrium is not there anymore, you are in a state of confusion. Confusion compared to the equilibrium. For me, for you, it may be a fantastic place, doesn't matter. So therefore, we have many states exist in the world. When the state is not equilibrium, this state is called, in scientists, entropy. The entropy means a state which is not at equilibrium. It's not meaning it is uncomfortable. For example, I am in an entropy. I think this is fine for me. So there's an entropy and there's an equilibrium. Now, if the distance between the equilibrium and entropy is very short, what does it mean? Equilibrium is here, entropy is very close to here. That means I can identify a situation which is causing this because I am too close to it. The maximum entropy is there. So they define time is therefore the path by which we move from equilibrium to entropy. It's a massive, beautiful mathematical equations given for this. But why struggle all this? We say that fulfillment, the equilibrium is mukti. From any difference from there, any chalanam from there, create an entropy, creation comes in. That which creates that is not time, not space. All beyond that, we call it Maya. The reason I say this, because, when we read the Vedanta, see, this is a problem even with many people who do Veda Dhyanam. See, Veda Dhyanam is very important to do because those days, there's no recording machinery. This knowledge, this Vedas has to be maintained. Everything's in Shabda. Artha is given. Shabdartha Pramanam has to be maintained. Therefore, they really carved out a set of people who have got the mental attitude. And they said, you are called Brahmanas. Your job is to maintain it. You sacrifice all your life. And others will manage your life. Therefore, there are people who rules this world, commercial traders and workers. They will give their earning to you. You eat, live, but you do this. So they do Adhyanam. The first part is that memorize everything, repeat it, teach it. So they are full of this knowledge, but they may not know the meaning of it. But because they hold the knowledge, the meaning dawns to them at some stage. You can ask the question that why these days we have recording material. Why do you have to Adhyanam? We can just record it and play. No, because important thing is, when you read it, when you take library books, take Shravanam, and you do get the meaning of everything else, it will be Purushaya meaning. Like all the scientists, why are they changing? Because they imagine and think without any pramanam. Like in the pit, they are not listening to the guy above the pit. Therefore, everything you do is limited knowledge. It will be modified. Therefore, if you want to move away, you have to have the knowledge of the Shrutis who is standing outside the pit, Shruti Pramana. The other important point is, decoding is not just technical interpretation. Like if you take a tongue, in the tip of the tongue you put a little sugar cube. Keep it there, outside. You have a sugar, you have a knowledge, sugar cube, it is sweet. You have no experience of it. Moment it is gone inside. In Vedas, there are a lot of Shabda Pramanam. There are a lot of Shabdas that are there, which you don't know the meaning. But the meaning will dawn to you like a sugar cube when it goes inside. You see the sweetness. Nobody can give you that. No knowledge can give you that. Anubhuti comes in you. Therefore, the Veda Dhyanam when you do, even though you don't took effort to learn it, if you are pure, your knowledge comes to you. Then you become a rishi. Then you impart the knowledge. So we try to taste the sugar without learning, putting the sugar on the tongue. Scientists are not even tasting it, not even taking any pramanam. So when you therefore be very brave to say, I take the Shruti as the Pradama Pramanam. I use my intellect as a subsidiary Pramanam. So how does this Vedas teach them? Again, there are people who learn this, come with many, many theories. I just give you two or three very simple one. A simple word, Yatha Srishti, Tatha Drishti. It's a school of thought, and we can go deeper into this for many hours. Whatever you see, that's the world. Like Schindler's cat. If I see now, in those days, people never believed India existed because it is not there, I can't see. So they need to go, they need to travel around this sea and then see it. Yeah, India, it does exist. Whatever they saw, Yada Shrishti Tada. So, sorry, I got to the second one, but anyway, I do that one. Yada Drishti Tada Shrishti. So two ways. Whatever is created, you can see. Whatever is seen is created. They are corollary. Look at the difference. If anything is created, that can be seen. That's why we go and search for new plants, new planets, new lands. Columbus traveled to India knowing that India is there. Other view is that whatever is I see whatever I see is created. This has got a lot of insight. What he's saying here is, if you can perceive something, it will be created. That's why visioning is very important. Scientists want to see a black hole. In 1964, they wrote a black hole theory, and then it was discarded. Now they see black hole. Gravitational wave, they imagined. Now they see gravitational wave. Like, you look at the sky and see, children are not very good in it. I see a rabbit chasing a cat or something. Then you look at the sky, you see some discarded clouds wandering around. For you, it is just dust particles. But for the children, it is not. They see it. So more intense your visioning is, more real it is to you. And when you are collectively, when you think about it, it happens. Very, very important to understand this. What we think, don't start saying soothsaying now. I learn Vedanta now. If I say something, it will happen. No, it will not happen like that. What you sincerely feel will give you that experience. That experience will come to you only first, because it is you created, like a dream. In the Jagrata also a dream. That's why you have to think positively. When you go to management school, when they talk positive theory, positive thinking, you pay $200 and learn this course. It is natural in our Sanatana Dharma. Positivity, never think bad things. And they frighten you. If you say that there are devas saying the das too, it'll happen. Because you need to have a Puranic figure to give you some discipline. But the fact is, you are Sat. When the Sat is realized, one becomes a Jnani, a Guru, and when his words, that's why when great Parivas and great Acharyas, when you go to them and say, what do? I say, don't worry, everything will be fine. Or something they say, or something which is interesting for you to say. It's not that they see your life and they learn astrology, palmistry, or some psychic force come and tell them. No. They feel like saying it, they say it. And it happens. Therefore, we see them as the great devotees, great acharyas. Because that's Sat conditioning, Shamadha Dasha. They are in that state of purity. So therefore, we say Yada Drishti Tada Srishti. Whatever you see, that is created. Science is also going in the direction now. People think about, oh, there is a new strand of virus will come, and it comes. Positive thoughts is very, very difficult to sustain. But then if I think that happened, then its perception is the world. So only God can create. But now I can create. That's impossible. Unless Tattvamasi. Unless you are that. And we are that. We create. See, this is important point. Forget about the truth of it. You'll dawn to us. But what it is telling you, it is actually taking you away from being a slave to everything, even slave to God and asking for things. No, take responsibility. It's you that you make the difference. So don't, Krishna says no more eloquence than Bhagavan. He says, yeah, there are people for arthagya, they will come for meaning, means of life, dukkha nivritti. Oh, I help them out. But there are jnanis who come to me. I love them. God is not helping them out. He goes into them. And there's a beautiful Tamil poetry which goes, the meaning goes like this, the whole world is big and the whole world is submerged in water, and the water is submerged in the atom, in the fire in the air, and the air in the space in my thought, and therefore God is in me. So therefore we have the Srishtivadas are there, and there's something which is absolutely wacky, throws off the balance. And when I when I was exposed to this, just gave me a shivers. And Even to many today, they are afraid to touch it. They don't even take it. After compassion, Shankara take it and modify it a little bit to make it palatable. This is by Gaudapada. He says Ajatavad. So he says Adhavantecha Sannasti Vartamane Abhitantaka. Vitadai Sadrushya Sanno Abhitata Iva Lakshita. Gaudapada is in the Guru Parampara, Shankara's Guru's Guru. He eloquently put for the Karika for the Mundakopanishad, and he in the 226 verses, it's called Ajatavada. Nothing is created. Forget about creation. Nothing is created. No. Adhavantecha yannasti vartamane abhi tattala. What is not existent before and after is therefore not existing in the middle. Remember, when you understand all this, understand Gaudapata is standing outside. We are in the pit, in the well. We are drowning in the well. He is in a paramarthika state and we are in the Vaivakarika state. Therefore, his truth cannot be comprehended in our transactional world, but the truth can be understood. What he says, let's try to understand. What is not there before and what is not there after can never there in between. Okay, I see this apple. It is there. I can see it. But where was the apple before? Oh, it was in Morrison. But before it was in a tree. Before it was an apple, it was like a flower. So there was a state that apple was in there, but it wasn't a flower. And what happened now? I'm eating the apple. I ate it now. Where's the apple now? Apple is me now. Apple transformed to Raja. Apple transformed to a cow. Whatever he eats that, Dekam Annamaya Kosha. See, imagine, understand this very much. Whatever you eat, that becomes you. That's why we are ultimate consumers. We just consume everything so that everything becomes me. This is again, if you look at it, because you don't want anything outside of you. You bring everything into you. So therefore, the apple has got a beginning, a middle, and an end. So therefore, it disappears. So should I call apple is created? There's a microphone here. Is a microphone created? I look at it. It has got a diaphragm, a mic, a little stand. Somebody put everything. Assemble this. Assemblage. Is assemblage a creation? You go to a famous Vedantic example, a pot created from a clay. So if you cannot call it a creation because it is coming and going and this, so it is changing its manifested state. Yeah, it's unmanifested and manifest. That means it's always there. Where is Srishti? You only look at it in a particular form. It is the other extreme, mind you. Here we are going on the finest of the meaning of the word. So Vitaita hi Sadrishya Santo Avitaita Iva Lakshita. Avitata means as a fact. Vitata means not fact, illusion. So these are all like illusions, the form. Sadrisha. Sadrisha means similar to. Santo Avita. Santo means we take it, we consider, we settle for what? settle for what is illusory, what is appearance, mithya, as abhitata, as a fact. We take what is transmigrating, what is moving, what is changing, what is impermanent as a fact, a real. So the reason I say this, because the Ishvara is a creator of the world. We've gone through that. Therefore, Ishvara is not sitting there and creating like creation that we think as a potter create a pot, or a flower is created in a fruit. No. He thinks it happens. Manifest and manifest comes in. So therefore, what appears creation is just the names and forms. Therefore, what is the what is? For that, Veda says that's Brahman, Prajnanam Brahma. It's another Maha Vakyam. Therefore, what appears, what we call it creation or whatever, is not exist really. It's Maya, Mithya. But what exists, what is Prajnanam. That Prajnanam is Sat. And that Sat is Tat. And Tat is you. That's what Tattvamasi Maha Vakyam derived, saying that Tat is a Sat, which is the Prajnanam. So Bhagavan Shankara says that Brahma, what is a Brahman? Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Subhavam. Nitya, eternal, Shuddha. Shuddha means what? Upati Sunyam. Uncluttered by the embodiments. Buddha means Chaitanyam. Mukta means free from every conditioning. Swabhavam. Swabhava means naturally in that position. Sarvajnam. Sarvajna means all-knowing. How can we be all-knowing? Because you are the one, everything else is just coming out of you. You are all-knowing. Because what you want, what you create is what you want to see. Idam, Ambal came in. Therefore, the last sentence, I think time is there. Okay, so he says, therefore, evam cha Vedanta Vakyai Sadguru Upateshena cha Sarveshu api Bhuteshu Yesham Brahma Buddhir Utpanna Te Jivan Mukta Ityartha. So Guru says, therefore, Vedanta Vakyahi. So therefore we see the Vedanta Vakyam. In the Vedanta Vakyam, therefore can I go and take a book from the library and read it? No. Sadguru Upateshena cha. So go to the Sadguru. Who is the Sadguru? Sadguru is the one who comes with the Parambharyam, who has got Veda Jnanam, and who is the Veda Jnana Nishta. You'll see who they are. We'll see in the later. So you take the Vedanta Vakyam and also the Vedanta Guru. So this is not a science that you can read it, do DIY. DIY becomes damage it yourself. Vedanta is a very sharp knife. Any misunderstanding, misteaching would really put us in difficulty. Therefore, you take all this Shravanam, Mananam, the Guru will come. So with the Guru, the Mahavakyam will be named. What happened then? Sarveshu api bhuteshu yesham. In everything, whatever is there in the world, Tattvamasi is just for you, but he says now everything is Sarvam Atma. Everything is Brahma Buddhi. Everything is Brahma. That Buddhi. In your mind, Utpanna hai. That is created. Utpanna means that comes in, that evolves, dawns in your mind, that everything Sarvam Brahmamayam. Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat. The Jagat is multi-universe. When you have that buddhi, what happened to you? Like, when I know how to cook, what happens to you? Well, I know how to cook. It doesn't full my hunger because I need to go and cook. So every Laukika knowledge needs an action. But here, Mahavakya's knowledge, when that buddhi is enshrined in the buddhi, and that very second, you become Jivan Muktaha. Here, these two words, is a lot of meaning. We'll look at it later. You become a liberated person. Iti arthaha. This is the meaning of this sentence. So we therefore conclude the Mahavakya Charam here. Just 1 minute to conclude this. So we saw these things. So if you remember, because you have to really know that we are following the structures, that if when you want to go back and revise it, you can go back to those particular recording or something, you can go back and revise it if you want to take it seriously. So we first saw in the 13 verses the Adhigaratvam. So we only know theoretically. I pray that we also pursue to gain the Adhigaratvam. Then we look at the Tattva Vicharam into the Jiva Vicharam and Ishvara Vicharam. In the Ishvara Vicharam, we look at the Jagat Vicharam. We completed. And today we completed the Mahavakyam. We didn't go through in detail, but understood the difference that there is no difference between Ishvara and myself, though. Tattvamasi is something I need to do mananam. So if I do that, the prayojanam is I don't need to do any more action anymore. On the moment I get the thing enshrined and become a nishta in it. See, this Tattva Bodha has not really give a chance to talk about the third step called Nididhyasana. So we got Mananam. We finished the first two are Shravanam, and the third one we do the Mananam, inquiring into the Mahavakyam. But Mananam removes our doubts. Then we have this Advaita Jnanam. Then you have to be in that bhavam all the time. It's called Nididhyasana. Because it may come and go. So you cannot be a Jivan Mukta. You need to be there. You need to do certain things. We will see later. And if you are there, you do that. You get a Jivan Mukta. Now we come to the last part. There are 20 sentences which talks about the Prayojanam. Okay, I learned all these things. I'm not going to be Jivan Mukta right away, but I am going to be there in some stage. What happens? What is my condition? Why I'm suffering? Karma, the karma theory comes in. So it's very important to understand. It will really make the Bhagavad Gita understanding much better. So we will finish that in the next session, in the next few classes. So I close it now. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So I would ask who is going to do the Shanti part? Any volunteers? Okay, may I call Mumbai Balamama to recite?
Namaskaram. Atato mam sadgamaya tamaso mam jyotirgamaya Vichormam amudam gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Om
Gurubhyo Namaha.
Oh, that was really good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank
Very
you.
nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.